when my sister asked me, she goes, why are you not answering the phone calls and why they're going to voicemail and you're at home? My answer was to her, I don't understand the concept of gotta go, wanna do. I don't know what they're talking about. So because I was raised with British English, and I thought that was the proper way of speaking. So for me, if you tell me I gotta go, I was like, you have to go, or you'll go, or what are you trying to tell me here? So that was my first struggle. Now the second one was, this was second week in Canada. My sister took me to ESL classes in downtown and showed me around and said, this is your class, this is how you take the bus, this is where the bus stop is, and this is how you do it. So she did that twice in a week, and third time she said, go on. So being jolly, I was very confident, got on the bus, went to downtown, attended my class, came back on the bus, forgot my sister's house number. I know it was on Victoria Road. There were no cell phones. So here I was trying to recognize which house my sister lived in. So I started just ringing the bell. The bell rang once. I looked, I'm like, doesn't look like that, my house. So sorry. So driver looked at me, did that again, bell rang, and I'm like, this is not the house again, sorry. So at this point, he knew that I was lost. So he looks at me, he goes, don't worry, just have a seat. I know where I picked you up this morning. I'll get you home. So that was my first community interaction. And it left a long-lasting impression, as I was genuinely touched by the kindness of the driver. He got me home so safely that night. Now, I couldn't go back to school, so that was a bummer. But my first job in Canada was working in a sewing factory. I hated sewing. Coming here, I used to tell my mother what would happen to people who sew if I learned that profession. So my first job here was a sewing machine operator. But there was a silver lining, because that's where I found my first Canadian best friend. Her name was Diane. We worked in the same factory together. She used to pick me up from my place and give me a ride. This was back in June. Now, I got here in May, and this was in June, July. In October, she invited me over for my first Thanksgiving dinner. And I was surprised by how kind Diane was. She welcomed me into her home with open arms. Her family gave me my very first teddy bear at the age of 21. I never had one growing up, and she found out, and there it was as I walked into her house. It's 24 years later, and the gesture still means so much to me. So please, never underestimate the importance of reaching out to someone with a kind gesture or an invitation. Another magical moment came that year. I saw my first snowfall. I grew up in Punjab, and I'm used to temperatures above and beyond 30 degrees. So when I saw snow first time in May, I ran outside bare feet and picked up that white fluffy stuff, and I ran around, like a crazy person. But yes, it snowed in May 1995. I think it was end of May, actually, because we arrived here May 13th, to be exact. And I loved it. Now, I was still working at the sewing factory because it was a stable job and I needed financial stability. I had my younger brother and younger sister who were in school. But I still felt that I was missing something. I wanted to change, to grow, to expand my social skills. So I did what any other young adult would do. I applied to work at a fast food restaurant to work on my linguistic skills. And I got a second job at KFC at downtown. By working there, I was able to expand my vocabulary, pick up some Canadian slang and lingo, and met so many nice people in our community. Less than 2 years later, my father suggested that I get married as per Indian tradition. So I was approaching the age, which was 22. So I went back home with my father and got married to now my husband, Kulbir, in January 1997. My husband got a degree in electrical engineering in India, so we decided that he would go for his schooling to upgrade his credentials first. He ended up later on pursuing another career in a different field. So once we were settled down by 2000, I decided to go back to school. I love to study. I cannot emphasize enough, love to study. And I love to learn new things. So I enjoy school very much. I completed my diploma in human resources, and my first official job was with Ministry of Transportation as a driver examiner. By 2007, 12 years after I immigrated, life was going well. My husband and I had great jobs, and our 2 little girls were in elementary school at that time. That's where my interest in the education system actually began. I was heavily involved in both of my daughters' educational experiences, and I learned how the school system worked alongside them, as it was completely different from the one that I went through in India. In 2009, now the recession really affected my family. My husband lost his job, and we adapted again and took a different route. We opened up our own business. It's Pita Pit, first one in Guelph in 2010. And then we opened our second Pita Pit in Fergus. For last 9 years, we have been focusing on running our business. Now, as our children grew older and became more independent, I felt like I was still missing something. Life wasn't complete. I wanted to improve my role as a community member and take action to help create better city. That's when a few of my friends, my sister, and I created Guelph Punjabi Cultural Group, a non-profit organization dedicated to raise funds and awareness for various local charities. We hosted last 4 years 4 successful events, raising more than $40,000. GPCG became an important part of my mission to help community because it gave me the opportunity to showcase my Punjabi culture and heritage while fundraising for the organizations that were close to heart, such as Guelph General Hospital, Children's Foundation, and Food Bank. This project led me to create so many connections to people all over Guelph. It was a bridge especially between the South Asian community and the greater population of Guelph. A fact that really stand out to me, that 1 out of 5 people in Guelph don't have English as their first language. Despite hosting our annual events for a couple of years, I was still missing something and craving for more community involvement. My sister Dolly was the one who recommended that I run for position of school board trustee after seeing how passionate I was about learning and how invested I was with my daughter's education. In 2018, I decided to run because I am passionate about learning, and I am passionate about learning about the school system. Because now I also wanted to help the new immigrants, because I too was in their shoe once. I wanted to use my experiences and my desire to create a stronger community to be their voice. I'm especially proud to be the very first person of color elected to serve as a trustee in the board's history here in Guelph. As our community changes, people need to see themselves reflected in their organizations, and I truly believe that. Now, learning isn't just for children and teens. It's for people of all ages. I just recently stepped into my 3rd career and became a financial advisor, coming back to my roots in economics and all those years ago. I look forward to continuing my journey of learning and hopefully inspiring others that it's never too late. When I reflect on my past experiences, being an immigrant meant to me finding a balance between my position and the livelihood. But with the growth and experience, I learned I didn't have to sacrifice one for the other. I realized how truly wonderful the community of Guelph is. As an immigrant, I wanted to experience the feeling of belonging, and I wanted to integrate myself into the city. I am blessed that this community embraced me for who I am. One of the main reasons I was able to be successful and meet my goals was because I received so much love and support. I believe that I have a haq on this community. Haq in Punjabi, in my language, means I have both responsibility and a right towards this community. So this is my community. I believe in love and respect and lifting each other up. And I thank my community of Guelph, and I hope that I am able to give back the love that I received by tenfold. Thank you for listening to me tonight.